been married to the same woman for 30 years, and I've known her for 32. And when people hear that, sometimes they automatically assume that we somehow figured it out early and just coasted on through our marriage. And that is not what happened at all. Sometimes being married that long means that someone loved you enough and was patient with you enough to see it through while you were still learning how not to destroy the thing that you love. And in my case, that somebody was my beautiful wife, Janae, because I wasn't always easy to love. And I definitely wasn't always the kind of husband she deserved to have. And the older I get, the more clearly I can see that now. One of the biggest mistakes I made early in our marriage was not listening to her needs. She would tell me what she needed from me. She would tell me what bothered her. She would tell me what she wanted me to work on. And instead of hearing that as, my wife is trying to help our marriage, I would hear it as, I'm not good enough. That's how immature I was. She would come to me with something real, something reasonable, something that mattered to her, and I would turn it into an attack on me. And instead of fixing the thing she was asking me to fix, I would get defensive. And instead of listening, I would get loud. And instead of saying, you're right, baby, I need to work on that, I would act like she was wrong for even bringing it up. And looking back on it now, I can see how unfair that was to her, because she wasn't trying to tear me down. She was trying to reach me. She was trying to tell me what she needed before it became resentment, and trying to save us from problems that I kept making worse. But I didn't know how to hear her. Not back then. And a lot of that came from my anger. I was an angry man. And I don't say that proudly. That's probably the biggest regret that I have. I would become angry almost immediately when she confronted me about something, even if I knew she was right and I was wrong. The moment that I felt corrected, I felt attacked. And the moment I felt attacked, I got angry and loud. And that was my defense. That was the wall that I put up. That was how I avoided actually looking at myself. And a lot of men do that. I don't know why. We get loud because we don't want to be wrong, or we get angry because we don't want to feel ashamed, I guess. We turn a conversation into a fight because a fight is easier than becoming accountable. And I did that for years, y'all. My wife would be trying to have a reasonable conversation with me, and I would make it bigger than it had to be. She would even beg me to calm down. She would try to get me to sit down, lower my voice, and talk like a civilized person so we could get through whatever the discussion or argument we were having. Instead of seeing that she was trying to do the right thing, I made those situations worse. I can see that now. I couldn't see it then, or I would ignore it. My right brain would take over my left brain. And back then, I thought that being a husband meant going to work and financially supporting my family. That's what I thought my job was. Go to work, bring home money, pay the bills, keep a roof over everybody's head. And don't get me wrong, those things are important and they matter. But that's not all marriage is. That is not all being a husband is. I wasn't equipped with the knowledge of how a husband was really supposed to be. The only role model I had was my dad, and he was angry and abusive too. He was always angry. And my parents divorced when I was 12 years old after I stood up to him for the first time. Story up here. You might grow up and lead that situation, but the yelling, the screaming, the abuse, it all follows you no matter where you go. It's like you're always running on a treadmill, and all the bad things are standing on the floor behind you, just waiting for you to get tired enough to stop running. And if you don't deal with those things, you end up bringing it into your own relationships and your own marriage, into your own house. And that's what I did. I became a husband without ever really seeing what a healthy husband looked like. I knew what I didn't want to be, but I still had parts of him inside of me. And that's a hard thing to admit, because nobody wants to look in the mirror and realize they became pieces of the person that hurt them. But I did. And my wife, she cared more than I understood. While I was away trucking, she was home raising 3 children. And I don't think I fully appreciated what that meant back then. I was out on the road thinking I was doing my part because I was working. But she was home carrying the weight of the house, the kids, the loneliness, and a husband who still had a lot of growing up to do. And to make it worse, I was gambling. Bad. There were times I wouldn't even get a paycheck because I would have taken an advance and then lose it all. So while she was already carrying the burden of raising our children while I was gone, I was also putting money stress on her. And I hate admitting that to y'all. I know this video is probably going to make me look horrible to some folks, but I have to tell the truth. I made things harder than they needed to be, and she didn't deserve that. There's one moment that sticks out in my mind over most. And it's the night she told me she was pregnant with our first child. I went out with a friend instead of staying there with her and celebrating. That should have been one of those moments where I wrapped my arms around her and said, "We're going to be okay, baby." That should have been a night for us, a memory we shared together. But I left. I didn't understand then what I understand now, and that's not me defending myself, y'all. That's me telling you that I'm harder on myself than probably anybody else ever has or will be. I failed to be present in a moment when she needed me the most. That was me showing her, even if I didn't intend to do it, that something else mattered more than what we were stepping into together. And she deserved better from me that night. She has deserved better from me a lot of nights. But here's the miracle of it all. She forgave me. That's one of the things about my wife that I don't think I appreciated enough when I was younger. She forgave me always. No matter what I did, no matter what I said, no matter how rotten I acted, she forgave me. Her loyalty is second to none in my life. And I know some people might hear that and think, well, she shouldn't have had to forgive you so much. And you would be correct. She shouldn't have had to do that. That's part of the shame that I carry. She shouldn't have had to be that patient and that forgiving. She should not have had to wait so long for me to become better. But she did. And because she did, I'm still here talking about a 30-year marriage instead of telling you how I lost the best woman to ever bless me with her presence. There was a time, though, where I saw it in her face. She was tired. Not angry like before. Not just upset, but tired. You know the look. I know you've seen it in people. When someone is still arguing with you, sometimes there's still fight left in them. But when they get quiet, when their whole attitude changes, when forgiveness starts looking more like exhaustion, that's when you better pay closer attention. Because that means they're not just mad anymore. They're worn out. And I could see that in her. I had done so much at that point that she was tired of it. She was sick of me. I made her sick. She was worn out from trying to get through to a man who kept acting like he couldn't hear her. Seeing that showed me something about myself I couldn't ignore anymore. I had to look at what my anger was doing. Look at what I was doing to my wife. I had to look at what I was doing to my whole family. And I had to make a decision whether I was going to keep being that man, or finally become somebody different. I wish I could sit here and tell you I changed overnight, but I didn't. Most real change doesn't happen like that. It happens one choice at a time, one conversation at a time, one swallowed piece of pride at a time, one moment where you want to yell, but you shut up and you listen instead. And that's the formula I follow now. I started listening. When my wife corrects me now, I don't take it as an attack like I used to. I try to accept it. Then I work on fixing it. Starting this YouTube channel is a result of that. Me trying to fix me. Getting in front of this camera and putting myself out there is therapeutic for me. But getting back to my marriage, I realize now that when it comes to our relationship, she has always been smarter than me. She could see things I couldn't see. She understood things I didn't understand. She knew what we needed long before I was willing to admit it. And if I had listened to her years ago, I probably could have saved us a lot of unnecessary pain. And that's one of the biggest lessons I've learned. Guys, we don't listen to our women enough. And I know some people don't want to hear that, but it's the truth. A lot of times, the answers are right in front of us. She is telling you what she needs. She's telling you what hurts her. She's also telling you what makes her feel alone. And she's also telling you what is slowly pushing her away. And somehow we ignore it. We defend ourselves. We call it nagging or bitching. We say she's always complaining. We act like she's the problem. But a lot of times, she is handing you the answer. You're just too prideful to take it. And that was me. And I wish I had understood that sooner. Now when I look at my wife, I see strength, loyalty, patience. I see a woman who loved me through seasons where I probably made it hard to love me. I know I made it hard to love me. And I now appreciate her in a way I didn't know how to when I was younger. I appreciate now what she had to carry, what she had to forgive. I appreciate what she stayed through. The fact that she saw something in me worth waiting on, even when I wasn't showing it, amazes me. And we love each other very much. After all these years, after all the hard times, after all the mistakes, we are still very much in love with each other. If she watched this video, I think she would probably give me a hug and kiss me. She would tell me she loves me. And we would probably both cry. Because she knows this story. She lived it with me. And the truth is, I don't want to spend the rest of my life pretending I was always the husband I should have been, because I wasn't. But I am grateful that I still have the chance to be better now. So if there's a younger married man watching this, or even an older one who still hasn't figured it out, let me say this as plainly as I can. Do not take her for granted. Do not assume she will always be there just because she has always been there. Talk less. Listen more. Pay attention to the clues she's giving you. When she tells you what she needs, don't turn it into a fight. Don't wait until she is exhausted to finally start becoming the man she needed. You take control of yourself. You be gentle with her. You be kind to her. Because if she's a good woman, she may be the best thing you will ever have in your life. And you do not want to wait until it's too late to realize that. I've been married for 30 years. I've known her for 32. And I can tell you this. A long marriage doesn't mean you did everything right. Sometimes it means someone loved you enough, forgave you enough, and was patient with you enough to give you time to become better. And if you're lucky enough to have that kind of person in your life, don't waste years making them prove how much they love you. You start proving that you're worthy of the love they've already been giving you. Thank y'all for watching and subscribing, and I'll see you on the next video.